What's the hey, Jack? It's Tuesday, so y'all know what it is. You know what it is. Shout out to Fox 26, and it is the drip. It is Tuesday. We drip at y'all. Pardon me. Over there, man. My neighbors all in my business. But I mean, welcome to Salt Sports, man. If you're not familiar with Salt Sports, Salt Sports is a Houston, Texas homer network. It means we're talking all sports, but only Houston, H-Town, baby. That's all that really matters. And y'all know how we get down on Tuesday, man. We got a gentleman from the round getting down with me this evening. Who do we have in the mix tonight, man? Hold on, look, I might have fried out. Hold on. Players, Mr. C. I be trying to get too savvy back here. You know what I'm saying? I be trying to be too fly. Yeah, I think I put it on the wrong thing. Hold on. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Say something now, Mr. Wise. Nah, I done broke that, and I done broke them boys off. Hold on. Look, y'all forgive me. I'm trying to clean things up. That's the that. Oh, I know, wrong thing. Hold on. You know, I be trying to do too much in the background. And while I get this together, I know y'all probably like, Honcho, what are you doing? What is this? What is this on your neck? So, you know, we do a little thing around here because we believe in accountability. We believe in, you know, owning up to, you know what you say. All right, try it now, Mr. Wise. No, I'm still on some shenanigans and tomfoolery. Give me one moment though. Let's do it like this. Look, we're just gonna stick to the script. We're just gonna do it the regular way. The only way that matters. Let me just. Yeah, look, it wouldn't be the sauce, y'all, if it wasn't for me engaging in some kind of technical difficulty. So, y'all should be somewhat used to it by now. Uh, Here we go. All right. All right, we should finally be good. Check me out, Mr. Wise. What you got?
It don't matter.
Yes, yes, it don't matter. Already, there we go. All right, all right, all right. So yeah, man, something we do around here. We talk about accountability. We talk about, we say a lot of things, and we want to always make sure ownership of that is very important to us. So coming soon to when the football season or whatever stream near you, we're gonna have the crow chain. Y'all boys don't know about it. You gotta own it. When you gotta eat the crow, you gotta rock the crow chain. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that because we always about honoring all up to the things we be on. But like I said, man, let's get to it. If you no, I wish I was, bro. I wish I was Aurelius, but I got to handle grown man BI, and I know for some of y'all looking at tomorrow as a holiday, and I envy you. It is what it is. But like I said, we got a lot to talk about tonight, man. We're gonna talk about Houston, the city, man, because ultimately that's what it's about. That's what the sauce is about. It's about the city, because players come and go, and it really doesn't matter. Like what I said, it don't matter because the city is still here. And so I want to talk about if the city is a premier destination for star athletes, because you look at some of the rosters and a lot of the talent is homegrown, drafted or whatever. And then it just seems like there's difficulty, especially for some teams way more than others, in getting talent to come to the city, right? So we're going to discuss that. We're going to talk a little Rockets talk tonight since Wise Man is in the building. I know some of y'all are like, Honcho, you guys, you said Astros, Rockets, Dynamos, Texans, and you never talk about the Dynamo, and you never talk about the Astros or Rockets. Okay, well, we're going to talk some Rockets tonight. We're going to give y'all some of that. Got a few thoughts on what's going on, recapping the season and everything that went down with that. But like I said, first and foremost, Houston, the city. Where are we at? Third, fourth largest in the country. I don't know. Sometimes it depends on which. I think there's land size, and I think there's population. And then I haven't checked recent population growth. We might be third by now. I think it was New York, LA, Chicago, something like that. And with the amount of people leaving LA, we might have overtaken them soon before you know it. But Houston, man, like, what is it in your opinion? Because I mean, if you look at it, I would say that the teams in the city, maybe aside from the Astros, and even them, they've had their struggle. Like, what is it about attracting talent to come to the city? Is it the organizations themselves, in your opinion, or is it something like is there a negative outlook on the city when it comes to athletes? Does it not have that flash or that lifestyle that when you're young and you got money that you're looking for? What do you think it is in your opinion, Mr. Wise?
Now that you bring it up, and now that I had about 15 seconds to think about it, um, I don't think it's the city. I don't think it's the city because when you look at it, it's a lot of athletes, different from different teams that stay in the city. A lot of them stay in Pearland, a lot of them stay in Missouri City, Sugarland area, a lot of them stay in the Woodlands, Magnolia area. So you got a lot of players like Cromartie, like the twins that played for the Seahawks, the one with the arm that was missing.
The Griffins, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have Trent Williams. Trent Williams from Houston. He got a house here. They all stay here. You got so I mean, it's Dwight Howard still got a house here. CP3. I don't know if he ever sold this house yet, but it's a lot of players that's from outside organizations that live in the city. I think they enjoy the city. They enjoy the culture of the city, but a lot of players get this negative perception from the media, sports media to be specifically, that Houston is just a bad place. The weather is terrible. It's real humid and this and that. Well, it's humid a lot of places. Where's the ocean? You go to Miami, it's gonna be humid. You go to New York, it's gonna be humid. It just doesn't make any sense. even if you go to even if you're in Wisconsin, it's humid. And I mean, Minnesota is humid. That's one of the biggest things. When I went up there for work last year, it was real humid. And I'm like, dang, it's like this in Minnesota. So I think it's just a negative perception that the media portrays on the city. A lot of people like Stephen A. Smith, people like, I don't want to go to Houston. The food is good, the women is nice, but other than that, the weather. That's all you hear on the media, all over ESPN, all over Fox, all over these different networks. So when you actually look at it, it might be a problem with the organizations or the timing of the organizations. Because when you look at the Houston Texans, our most notable free agent that we signed would be Honey Badger in the most recent years.
Yeah.
I would say it would be, Honey Badger, Jonathan Joseph.
Yeah,
I mean,
JJ.
yeah, and these is not like superstar players.
Mm.
And when you look at the Rockets, I mean, we had to trade for James Harden. We did get CP3, but CP3 was trying to team up with Harden. We did get the Dwight Howard. We had a big parade then for the Dwight Howard. Who else did we add that was real big? We with the Rockets is pretty much trades that where we accumulate our superstars. Now that I think about it, so it's like you wonder if it's bad timing with the organizations. Teams don't want to. I mean, players don't want to come here just because the teams don't have the cap space at the time with the right team around them, or if it's just a situation where the players not just don't want to have anything to do with the organizations. Same thing with the Astros. I don't remember any big time name signings that we had for the Astros in the last couple of years.
Would Verlander be
Yeah,
considered?
Verlander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Verlander. Was Verlander? I forgot. Did we sign him or did we trade for him? I think we traded for Verlander. I think it was a trade for Verlander at the deadline. I can't remember. Hector would have to credit me on those sources, but it's just real interesting now that you bring up this point about our teams not being able to get these superstar players. But if you look at the Texans situation, it makes sense because right now they're in a point where they don't have the cap space this season. But next season, we're going to see what they're going to be able to do because they're going to have $130 million in cap. Same thing with the Houston Rockets. We're going to be able to see what's going to happen next season because they're going to have $100 and something million in cap once they get rid of that John Wall contract and once Christian Wood and KPJ fall off the books. So it's gonna be real interesting to see next offseason how these teams are gonna be able to attract this type of talent, especially when you have two teams that have a lot of draft picks, that have a player that they're building around. You want to see what these new general managers can do, how they can be aggressive and try to attract new players to the city because it makes no sense to see all of these guys outside of the that come to Houston and train and all this stuff, and they live here, but they just don't want to play for the teams, and that's kind of concerning. Like we gotta do better with our organizations, and we gotta bring those superstar players because it's gonna change. Maybe that's the reason why we haven't had a Super Bowl for the Texans. Why we don't go for a trade for a guy like Jamal Adams when Jamal Adams was on the books. Of course, we wasn't giving up 2 first-round picks, but I'm just using that as an example. Like, why don't we go after somebody like a Tyreek Hill? We know he had some incidences in a past with his child and stuff like that, but at the same time, the Texans, we got to stop looking past that type of stuff. Yeah, you have some of these players that have off the field issues, but some of those players is critical to the team. Yeah. And yes, we as fans understand that it's bad. They don't need to be doing that. But at the same time, we only watch them for what they do and play football. We don't worry about we don't care about what you go home and do behind closed doors. It ain't no camera on you 24/7. So if we ain't holding you accountable for 24/7, why should we hold the players accountable 24/7 unless they doing the WD-40 specials?
Yeah, as long as you ain't violating in multiple ways, it is what it is. And that's my thing, kind of Charles Barkley said a while ago, I ain't a role model, a long time ago, and I don't know why, but for some reason we put these guys on pedestals, guys who a lot of time have come from, urban environments. You can call it the hood, you can call it whatever you want to. A lot of times their outlet was the sport that they played. And sometimes you're a product of your environment. You just saw old buddy up in Dallas. I forgot his name, the corner, who was wanted for, I think, a little murder beef. And it's just like some of these guys are going to be a little off the rocker. And I get it that you don't want to get caught in a situation like that. But at the same time, I'm almost like at this point, if they're free, you're not incarcerated, and they can play. Let's take a flyer on them as long as they not, violate women's rights. That's a no go. But also, to bring it up, why I say it concerns me with the city is because think of all the talent that Houston produces. Like Houston, the greater Houston area. I mean, even like in high school, you talking about high school football, who's there every year? Katie, North Shore. I think who is it, just won it, Paytile or whatever, and Katie. They're producing quality athletes all over the place. You know what I'm saying? The best quarterbacks in the league and coming out of Texas at least, or, the Houston area. It's just like, why are we putting out, but we're not getting it back? And shout out to everybody in chat, man. I forgot to tell y'all, Sauce Nation roll call. Hey, shout out to Side with Pride. If you are from the greater Houston area, let me know where you're at. If you're not from the greater Houston area, well, make better life decisions. That would be my suggestion. But we still got some love for you. Let us know. I see Trinity Gardens in the building. I see Acres Home in the building already. Port Arthur, Texas, land of the Trill already. Cool Landver, what's the deal? But yeah, man, and that's why I get so concerned. I'm like, man, it's so much talent that comes out of the city, but we don't seem to get a return on that investment, right? And it's just like I don't know what has to be done to change that, because the media, like I said, I do believe that has an impact, because these guys watch, the 4-letter network, and they watch all this other stuff too, and what these guys are saying, rah this about Houston, and my thoughts have always been. For a long time, it's like you have, these guys are generally stationed in, New York or LA, and we see when stuff happens there, it gets hyped up. Like New York has not been relevant in sports since I don't know when, but any little move they make, they blow it up,
Bruh, them, LA, Dallas, I don't understand it. Like the Cowboys, like these dudes haven't won one playoff game since I've been born. Since I've been born.
That's what I'm saying.
A little bit of cap. Yeah.
But we get, a little bit, but we get what you're saying. But yeah, and that's my thing is like, but those guys, they constantly are at the forefront of all the conversation. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I think that's where you have a lot of these people are headquartered, again, large cities, and you're going to get that hype because the people are going to get behind that. You talk about New York, anything that come out of New York, New Yorkers get behind it. Even if it's some of these whack rappers that they put out, they get behind it. They put out these overrated, players. People get behind it, right? LA's kind of similar, you know what I'm saying? And that's the mentality it should be. I think that's also part of the problem that we have in Houston and as a fan base. I was getting some gas today, paying way too much for it. Who pulls up next to me? Some chick gets out in the LA Dodgers jersey. Like, I was this close. So normally I in public, if I catch somebody wearing a jersey, somebody like, you're gonna get questioned. Like I got questions. I need to know why, and you better not be from the city. Like you better be an out of towner who just moved into town. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, all right, but if you from the city and you wearing stuff like that, I'm like, why? But that's part of the problem. We got too many bandwagoners. It is too the fan base is spread just too thin, in my opinion. I see people who will have Yankees gear on, like I said, Dodgers gear, Boston gear, stuff like that. Like this is the Astro City. Like that shouldn't even be a thing. None of those teams have won anything more recent. If I'm not mistaken. And the Astros, whoop their ass on the way to winning theirs, or to the World Series, or whatever it is, huh?
The Yankees haven't won nothing in years.
No, yeah, it's been they making excuses trying to blame the Astros. That would have been our year. No, it wouldn't have. But like it killed me when I see like Lakers jerseys. Now, if I see somebody in a LeBron Lakers jersey, I've already levied a judgment upon them. Like, there's no point in talking to you. You one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Lakers fans are just as bad as like Cowboys fans. Like Lakers, Yankee, like it's Yankees in baseball, Lakers in basketball, and the Cowboys in football, in my opinion. Like, they're all equal fan bases of terrible. You know what I mean? Like, just terrible. But again, it is what it is. Hold on one second. But yeah, like, and so my deal is just like, man, look, it is what it is, and I just want to know what we can do, what has to be done to change that narrative. But for right now, it doesn't look like anytime soon it's going to change. I think unless some of the mentalities of these franchises change, especially the Texans.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, hmm?
According to, because I seen this video the other day, according to Jim Crane, it's on the fans to get for them to be able to get more higher free agents. I forgot he said that out of his own
Mm,
mouth. He was
mm.
like, yeah, it's on the fans. The fans generate more revenue for the franchise, and we can use that revenue and put it into attracting more free agents. That's what Jim Crane said. That I'm just saying. That's what that man said out of his own mouth. I'm just saying that.
So Jim Crane wants y'all to do a GoFundMe for more free agents, basically. Like, what is he saying?
He do,
Because I see Astros merch everywhere. Like, you telling me people ain't filling up the stands?
no,
Hmm?
that's the point. Yeah, they're not filling up the
They're
stands at the
not.
Astros.
Oh
Not
wow.
not in the regular season, unless it's a
Wow.
weekend game.
Yeah.
Yeah, a weekend game. During the week, no, the
No.
games is
Oh
just
well.
like the Rockets games. The Rockets games is empty, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, here's a correlation to it. Like during the week, is it bad location? Because we having to go downtown. You got to think about how spread out Houston is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to go downtown, deal with the traffic, pay the overpriced parking, and and do all that. And then you probably have to go to work the next day or whatever else is going on. Like I mean, that's something to I guess you consider, but you can't just pick up and move the stadium. Maybe that's something that should have been considered prior to choosing these locations. Because I know Toyota Center, I know it can be inconvenient during the week. And again, like I say, probably getting a Minute Maid could be very inconvenient, especially during the weekday. And then, like I say, if you got to do all that other stuff, it's a hassle. So I don't know what you do to change any of that. Like unless you, like I say, move locations or which is not going to happen. Like I think that's something you're going to have to deal with.
have you ever dealt with the traffic after leaving the Lexington game off of 610, man?
Right.
On 610, that traffic is crazy.
It's
You gotta
terrible.
you might as well stay at the stadium for an extra hour before you even leave.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then the Rockets games are at 7:00 during the week, and people getting off at 5:00. You in traffic for an hour and stuff like that. So it's like, man, it's understandable. Even when we having playoff games, remember,
Yeah.
and then when they introductions and stuff like that, that part is empty. And then when you see in the second quarter, now the stadium is packed.
Yeah, yeah. And
It,
they're saying, look, they're second, but they be there for the second and third quarter and then be gone by the fourth, trying to get out and beat the traffic back out. So I think, like I said, especially being an owner, you're probably not thinking about these. You probably take a helicopter to the game. Ain't no helicopter traffic. You know what I'm saying? So you probably dipping in and out. Might have a bat plane or something. I don't know. But
helicopters. Rest in peace, boy Kobe.
Oh,
No
man. St. Louis was good. Yeah, DJ Big Mac, no massages, bro. No massages. Massages are banned for the entire. You cannot get a massage in the greater Houston area for the remainder of 2022. We'll revisit that on the 2023 addendum, and we'll see if we can accept that. Somebody just definitely violated that whole situation. Speaking of that, somebody, and I don't really want to talk about this person, but I kind of want to bring it up, and then I want to talk Rockets, man. Did you see that little poll that they had with like the Cleveland fan base and basically how they felt about acquiring our old junk? You know what I'm saying? And it's not very receptive, right? They were not very receptive for the most part. A lot of people were like, I can't rock with it. I think that was the biggest section. And another section was like, I don't like it, but I'm gonna still watch. And it was like the smallest section. There was like 4 different ones. I can't remember what the other one was, but the smallest section was like, I don't care. I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. Like, do you think that if this guy doesn't get to winning, say, that first season you missed the playoffs or something of that sort, how do you feel like that fan base is going to react, especially with everything you've given up, the hostility towards his arrival already as it is? Do you think that's going to change anything, or is Cleveland fully committed?
You want to know what's real funny? Because I haven't been able to talk about this situation for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Man, you want to know what's real funny? I'm watching Baker Mayfield interview. Baker Mayfield's just like WD-40. He talking about the franchise turned their back on me. They kept me in conversations. they made promises to me and went another direction. And why did WD-40 want to leave the Texans? Exactly because of the same situation. So sometimes you need to realize that the situation that you go to is not always going to be the best situation for you. That pick that we're getting from the Browns next year is going to be top 10. If it's not a top 10, Wise will eat crow. I guarantee you they will not make the playoffs next season. I'm telling you, trust me, they won't make the playoffs next season. They got to go against my boy Joey B. They got to go against my boy Lamar Jack. And who can even say they even better than the Steelers? We know the Steelers win 8 or 9 games no matter who the quarterback is. To be honest, it's going to be real bad. You're talking about a whole franchise that, excuse my language, shitted on Baker Mayfield, a man that played with a torn labrum and fought through the season, trying to get them to the playoffs, and the fan base shitted on him because they had the audacity to say this man could have get them to the playoffs. But this guy was the first quarterback to get them to the playoffs in since they ever started this new Browns franchise. And let's also look at it. He was a part of a franchise that went 0-16, and then he turned it around. And let's not also think about what Baker Mayfield had to deal with. He went through 3 general managers and 5 different head coaches in 5 years. So the franchise really failed this man, and it's going to be real funny how the franchise will fail this man WD-40 and how Nicky Casario, my boy. Shout out to my boy Nicky Casario. I know he watched. Yeah, it's going to benefit us in the long term. We're going to get a top 10 pick, and then the year after that, we're probably going to have another top 15, top 16 pick.
Okay. Man, it's very interesting that you brought that point up, man, because I didn't even think about it like that. I did kind of hear a little bit of him, how he's saying, he felt disrespected and everything that was going on. And I think with Baker, it's kind of rightfully so, because like you said, Baker did something, and I'm not a Baker fan in the slightest. I believe he's overhyped, but I mean, to do something in Cleveland, hey, you got to give the man his due. I just don't think he's that well received around the league, because if that was the case, I think along with the picks, the Texans would have said, hey, go ahead and throw Baker in there, because Cleveland would have been happy to get rid of it, because I think that kind of causes a little bit of a problem, right? You got your former starter here, you got your new guy, and I guess they thought he was just going to stick around or take a back seat. We all know that he's not that kind of personality. But, yeah, he's actually taking the franchise somewhere they hadn't been since they've been the new Browns or whatever. W40 didn't do anything special. He made it look really good. You know what I'm saying? He made it look really fancy. You got some individual awards, but what did he really do for the Texans that hadn't been done, that Matt Schaub ain't done, that TJ Yates didn't do? You know what I mean? Like, you didn't elevate this franchise in such a way. And I know people say, oh, well, this was taken from. Well, even when he had all the talent, when he had all the pieces, you know what I'm saying? It still didn't happen. And if he was that, then again, it's kind of like the same situation like you just mentioned with Baker. Baker went through all the GMs, head coaches situation. He went through, 2? And then actually didn't even play for 1. So really just 1. You know what I'm saying? You can talk about interim, but the interim don't really count in my opinion. It is what it is, but they fired his boy that he vouched for that wasn't coaching well. And as soon as he didn't get his way, he wanted out. So I think once he gets up there and sees that one, I think he's going to be in a much tougher division. He had it kind of easy down here. He's going to realize I made a mistake. This was a bad choice, but he's going to have to deal with it, because I think after that, if you want to try to move around again, who's going to want to deal with that nonsense? I think he burned a lot of bridges with this whole fake the decision that he basically had. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that dude.
And we know in the AFC North, that's a whole different type of football. Yeah. They physical, they defense heavy, they run the ball a lot, and they're going to smack you in your mouth. So just be prepared, WD-40.
Yeah. You're talking about championship winning coaches in that division. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to play in the South where who didn't won anything in the South? You know what I'm saying? You got Harbaugh, you got I can't think of his name. Look like Broderick. Huh?
Yeah, they got Harbaugh, and they got Mike Tomlins. They got and then they got Buddy from the Zach Taylors from the Bengals that just to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you talking about big dogs, not guys who just got a job and because somebody else rejected the job or they got fired. And, like you talking about some guys that's going to compete, that know how to win. And so I think he's going to be in for a very rude awakening because you're going to be on the most questionable franchise in that division. So it is what it is. Worst of luck to him. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of that. But let's take a look. Real quick, though, it was something I had mentioned actually last week because when I did a video, I was kind of actually curious about it, but we talked about Baker a little bit. Do you think that he ends up somewhere like somebody? You think that somebody's going to say, "Hey, that because we're willing to, make an offer for Baker"? And if so, what do you think is going to be? And kind of also the same question with what they got going on with Kyler Murray, because I'm not sure if that situation's changed over there in Arizona. How do you feel about those two?
We don't want no fun-sized quarterback. No. I can tell you that. No.
No, definitely not Houston.
Nicky Scissors, please listen to me right now. Do not trade for this short bastard, Kyler Murray. We don't want him. He can throw the ball. He got an arm, but he can't even make DeAndre Hopkins look good. Yeah. He can't even do that right. You know how many quarterbacks we had for the Texans that made DeAndre Hopkins look great? Yeah. I mean, let me stop. I said that wrong. DeAndre Hopkins made the quarterbacks look great. Yeah. Yeah. But you can't do that with Kyler Murray. I'm not worried about him. When it comes to Baker Mayfield, teams are going to be smart. They know it's not a market for Baker Mayfield. If anything, they can trade a 7th-round pick, a 6th-round pick for this guy. Or what's going to happen is the Browns are going to have to release Baker Mayfield, and then he's just going to have to get picked up off of free agency, which I think is going to happen in the end of the day. Because when you look at Seattle, they said they already buying in with Drew Lock this season, which tells me they tanking and they going for a quarterback draft pick. And then when you look at the Jets, they got a rookie quarterback they still developing. You look at Detroit, they got Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, the same player at the end of the day. At least Jared Goff didn't been to a Super Bowl. Yeah. And then when you look at the Titans, maybe the Titans. But it's the off season right now. Nobody's getting injured or anything like that, so it's not going to create any demand for any team to want to trade for him. So at the end of the day, like I said, I think the Browns going to have to release Baker Mayfield, and then he's going to go to the open market, and then somebody's going to have to sign him.
Okay. Do you think Kyler's out of line for asking for a new contract at this point?
No, he deserves it. Any man. Well, do he deserve it in my books? No. But do he deserve it in his eyes? Yes.
You ain't mad at forgetting it. Hey man, I ain't mad at you for trying to get your money because I think he only do like 5.5 this year. But he's still 2 years out. You know what I'm saying? Before he do.
Yeah, that's crazy though. Like, it doesn't make sense. All these players trying to get paid. Like Deebo Samuel said, he was sitting out until he get paid. It was another receiver, the one that played for the Panthers. Not for the Panthers.
Was it Brown? Did Brown say didn't Brown say he was sitting out, or he was saying something? I think AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown said he was sitting out with the Titans, and then it was somebody else that said they was all sitting out because they ain't get until they get a new contract. It's gonna be real interesting because that CBA just got signed last year. So owners are paying attention and seeing what these players are doing, trying to get out of contracts earlier, trying to make this to NBA and this and that. And I think they're going to get it back on closed wraps because these players trying to take control of the asylum, just like our late great owner, Robert McNair said, the prisoners trying to take over the asylum. That can't happen. That can't happen. The owners got to take over. They need to put their foot down and tell these players, if we sign you to a contract, you got to adhere to that contract. But at least what they can do on their ends is to make the contracts guaranteed. Yeah. At least you gotta sacrifice on both ends. Make the contracts guaranteed. That way, if the players get hurt, they still have money and this and that. But they got to live out that contract. And on the last year, they contract, then they can come up with an extension. But it's excessive for dudes to be getting paid 2 years early into their contract because a guy can go out with an ACL. You can pay him $100 million. He go out with an ACL or Achilles injury and never be the same ever again. So it's a huge risk for the organization. I understand it on their part, but I see it on the players' part as well because you're just trying to get paid and take care of your family.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I still say I don't knock anybody. I'm not gonna never knock any man for trying to get his money. But at the same time, like you just said, like and Bob McNair was not wrong. You can't let the inmates control the asylum because it creates chaos. And who loses in the end? The fans. We lose. Because if you got talented guys sitting out for this reason or that reason, or they don't want to honor the contract they signed. Oh, it was good when you signed it, but you didn't think you thought about the money right then and there. But then, 3-4 years down the line, oh, I don't like the circumstance. I don't like the coach. I don't like it. It makes it problematic because you have these current situations. Do you think though? And I would say I would have to probably say yeah, not to answer it for you because the NFLPA kind of said to start taking advantage of it because of the Watson deal being fully guaranteed. Do you think that Watson has started a ripple effect that's going to, until the next CBA sign, is going to be problematic?
Yeah, because guys like Kyler Murray, like you was just mentioning, he gonna want at least 55 million plus, and he gonna want fully guaranteed. Do you think Kyler Murray is worth 4 years, $220 million fully guaranteed? I don't think so, bro. I don't think so, bro. And it's getting ridiculous with the numbers. It's crazy that every time a player get a new contract, they just reset in the market. They just reset in the market. They just like the player's not even better than the other player, and they reset in the market. That makes no sense to me at all. For you to get paid higher than another player, you gotta have better performance. You gotta show me a better product, and you gotta be marketable. You gotta make money into the franchise. If I'm investing $200 million into you, you better be bringing me back $1 billion. If I'm the owner, if you get what I'm saying. So
you gotta have an ROI.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. 50, like, can you imagine the next quarter? Like, Lamar Jackson is up for a contract this year. Lamar Jackson, it was Baker, but Baker not getting paid no more. We know that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what Lamar Jackson is gonna do because he's gonna be one that it has to get done this offseason. If not, then they could franchise tag him, of course. But if they franchise tag him, like I think he asked for a trade. Like that's no loyalty to a guy that's won MVP. Even though people want to hate and say he ain't a good quarterback, I'll take him on the Texans for a first round pick. We got plenty of them.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah. No, my deal is like, look, I think Lamar is a phenomenal athlete. I don't think he's a great thrower of the football, but he wins, right? And if you're winning, that's all that counts. Whatever you got to do, and you got to attribute, Harbaugh to working with what he has and then adjusting to his player, which is what most coaches should do instead of trying to make them fit into their system, figure out what your player's strengths are and you adjust. But yeah, and if you see that Deshaun Watson got that kind of money and hadn't done anything, and you took your team into the playoffs, you didn't, like you said, been an MVP, you have accolades, like you're going to want your money. You're going to want to get paid and you're going to want it to be guaranteed. And then you just had, like, I'm trying to figure out too, is where the Browns are getting all this money from, because didn't they just pay, who they just pay? Ward? A bunch of money? Was it Ward that they just paid? 100? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. Like, where are you? I think
Yeah. Denzel Ward, $100 million. He was our pick. That's the dude that we traded away for WD-40 to draft him.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and so you're looking at that though. You're looking at that again. Like I say, corners are looking at that, quarterbacks looking at that, receivers are looking at that because of the I forgot the player of the Jags who they overpaid. I forgot. I can't think his name right now. And like, Kirk, yeah, and it's like you can't fault them, but then you kind of guess you got to blame GMs a little bit too, because you like you said, you're resetting the market, and now guys were like, man, I'm clearly better than this guy. I'm clearly a superior player to this guy. I need to get paid, and you kind of can't fault them for it. But again, like I say, we as the fans are the ones who end up ultimately losing. And it's kind of crazy, and I keep going back to that. I don't want to talk, but even little things have come out. It's funny how, and even we as players, because we as fans of the Texans, because we are Texans fans, have to deal with their issues. It's funny to see other franchises, and one that WD-40 went to the Browns, and now they're under investigation for, this, that, and the third. Like, there's this underground turmoil that they got with the Hugh Jackson situation. And again, if Hugh Jackson accepted money for losing games, then to me, he shouldn't have no case. He should just shut the hell up and sit down somewhere. Like, if you took the money, your integrity is nil now. And honestly, where's he at? Grambling or somewhere like that? He should be fired from that. Like, your integrity is out the window. If you took money to deliberately lose, like, that's the antithesis of being a coach. Like, your job is to win. Your job is to put players in the best position. If I was a player that got hurt under his guidance, under his leadership, or whatever you want to call it, under his coaching regime, and I know that you were deliberately out there trying to lose, I'd sue you. I'd have to, like, because I feel like you set me up for failure. Then, if you were deliberately out there losing games, you set me up to lose, and then you wasted my career. You know what I mean? Like, this is a short game, especially in the game of football. You wasted my career, so it's a wild deal. But again, everybody hollered about how toxic and how racist and how, this the Texans are and all that. And then you go to a place where they scheming and scamming, right? Basically, they trying to scam for picks, and then, you talking about wanting a black coach. You use the black coach. He undersold other players by deliberately losing. So it's a wild deal. Again, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that WD-40 is going to have to deal with. But say we're going to talk some Rockets. I had a question. And I know you said we talked a little bit before the stream. You said they already re-upped him. But is Silas hindering the development of this young Rockets core, in your opinion?
Yo, you want to know why he's not? Just like his daddy. He's just like his daddy. They produce superstar players. When you look at it, his dad produced LeBron James. He was coaching LeBron James during his rookie season. And then he got fired after, of course. But we know what kind of player LeBron James came into. Yeah. Guess who was coaching the Steph Curry? Stephen Silas. Stephen Curry would say a lot of his stuff that he learned and all of the stuff he accredits to would be Stephen Silas. He was upset when his coach was fired, or when he left for a new job. You know who else Stephen Silas didn't develop? Luka Doncic. So when you look at it, I'll take the losing if Jalen Green can become Kobe Bryant Jr.'s or if he can become Michael Jordan Jr. I don't care if we get a ring. I do not care if we lose for this next 2 years. We need to get as much talent that we can get. I do like what they did at the end of the season, though. About the last, I would say, 10 to 11 games, they let the rookies play. So we got to see more of Garuba. We got to see more of Deshaun Nix. We got to see more of Josh Christopher. And that's what was making a lot of Rockets fans pissed off early in the season, because we were seeing guys like Dennis Schroeder take up minutes. We were seeing guys like David Nwaba get a lot of minutes. Eric Gordon. Don't get me started on this. Sorry, he was taking up a lot of minutes early in the season. So it's like, man, we got tired of seeing that. You had the rookies on the bench. We know what these rookies could do. Every time they came in the game, we was down by 30 points. You could see that they was fighting hard. They were showing more effort than the starters. So I think going into next season, they got a better sense of who these players can be and their potential and stuff like that. And we're going to see a little bit more with the Summer League coming up. And in a month from now, we'll figure out what's going to be our draft pick. So I think it's like May 17th or something like that. Don't quote me, but I think it's May 17th where we found out if that's going to be top. Well, we know it's going to be a top 5 pick, 100%. But we want to know if it's going to be number 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5. So hopefully it's a number 1 pick, number 2 pick. We can get a guy, preferably a big man to pair with Jalen Green going forward, because we got Sengun. And if we can add like a guy like Banchero, we can add a guy like Chet or Jabari Smith. Man, it's just endless amount of things that we can do with this team going forward, because you're going to have all this young talent. And then the year after that, we got our draft pick one more time. I think we got our draft pick and we got Brooklyn draft pick. But after that, we don't own ownership for our draft picks for like 2 or 3 years. So it's very important after next season for us to start competing to get back into the playoffs and things of that sorts. So I think if Stephen Silas has a bad season again next season, then he's out the door, because he's had a fair tenure. But I like the fact that Truman Fertitta gave this guy a chance, because this guy came into a situation where he thought he was going to have James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and then both guys who, don't get me started on these dudes, talk about, they want a black head coach this, black head coach that. Hypocrites. And as soon as they get a black head coach, what they do, they walk out on him. A young guy that never had an opportunity, head coaching opportunity in his career, and he had been in the league for more than 20 years. So I I commend Tillman Fertitta for giving him the opportunity to stick through his whole contract. I think his contract is up at the end of this next season too. So, like I said, it's going to be a pivotal season for him next year. If they don't win more than 30 games, I don't think Steven Silas is here, and I don't expect them to win more than 30 games. And the whole thing with KPJ at point guard, like, that needs to stop. I don't think KPJ is a point guard. I'm just being honest, and I know you got fanboys out here and stuff like that, but let's be realistic. I don't want to see a point guard over here dribble, 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 like Charles Barkley say, running ISO like James Harden, and just taking a whole bunch of unnecessary shots and taking the ball out of guys' hands. Because when you look at a guy like Jalen Green, and this is something I watched from the beginning of the season, because I told you before even the draft, hey, this guy, Jalen Green, I want this guy on the Rockets.
Yeah.
This guy's a 3-level scorer. This guy can attack the basket. He can attack the rim. And the mid-range, he got a nice mid-range game, similar to what James Harden had when he first came to the Rockets. Yeah. And then his three-point game is phenomenal. So this guy, if he continues to stay down the path that he's on with Steven Silas, if he's able to gain about 15 pounds to 20 pounds of muscle, this guy can be one of the best scorers in the league, and he shows effort on defense. So I think you need to put a pure point guard around him, a pure PG, somebody similar to like a Chris Paul mold that just disses the ball, get a couple of rebounds, and then get a free three or something like that every now and then. And then you got your number one draft pick from this year that's going to be there. And then whatever, and then you still got Senguns and you got Josh Christopher. So you got a lot of scorers on this team that you're going to build around in the future, but you need somebody that's going to distribute the ball evenly to all of these guys. So I think that's going to be important in the future. I think Steven Silas gets net, like they said, he's going to be there next season. But do I think he's going to be there after next season? I don't think so. The Rockets kind of need a guy like they need to give Mark Jackson an opportunity. Yeah. To be honest, Mark Jackson is a good coach. He even built the Warriors dynasty before Steve Kerr just got this opportunity out of the blue. Or they need to go after a more veteran guy like, I don't know if Doc Rivers become available or something like that. I don't like Doc Rivers. Somebody that's going to go in there, demand, like Tom Thibodeau. He's going to, he's a defensive coach, but he's going to expect the best out of you. He's going to make the best out of he's going to demand you to practice on time. He's going to demand you to buy into the system, buy into the offense, buy into the defense, the side of the ball. And if you don't do that, then you won't get no minutes. We need a coach like that that's going to hold these players accountable, because we do got a lot of guys that's 20, 19 years old, 21, 22 years old. So you got to get somebody that's going to be able to discipline these guys and not let them walk over the head coach. Just like I had a problem with KPJ, because you don't ever want to see a player. I don't care what anybody says. I don't see how people even get past this. How do you quit on your team and drive out of the locker room, drive out of the stadium at halftime? And then how do you negotiate a jewelry deal on the sideline? Those are 2 strikes with me already, and he already had his strike when he was with Cleveland. 3rd strike, I'm done with him. I don't want to see him on the team no more. And I don't care if KPJ have hate towards me, because I don't care. It don't matter what you did. My city didn't give you an opportunity. Tillman Fertitta didn't give you another opportunity to play basketball again in your career, and you just basically, I don't want to cuss, but you just in our face. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, you poo-pooed on us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's that's what I was going to ask you. I'm glad you already mentioned it, because I was going to ask you kind of your thoughts on KPJ, because I know a lot of people are on that wagon, and also, as a point guard, you're a decision maker, you're a facilitator, you're kind of in control of things. And if you can't handle small conflicts like that, and you, like you say, you leaving the game early, you getting mad, if your mind ain't focused on the game, you over there, like you say, trying to get a new chain with Johnny Dang or get your grill on or whatever, like it shows me that full commitment ain't there like it should be. I don't feel as though right now KPJ is as committed to the Rockets as the Rockets are committed to him, or as they've tried to be, because they've gone out of their way to, work with this young man, to give this man that second chance, like to give him those opportunities. Because most teams, as you see it, they weren't gonna waste any time dealing with a guy like that, especially after the outburst in Cleveland. So it's like, I get it, and I know people try to say, "Oh, they're young." It's not that you're young; it's that you're stupid. Like, again, because you see young people who are doing amazing things all the time. You don't say, well, they're young. No, it's if you got a messed up mentality, you're young and you're doing goofy stuff, you're just stupid. It's just you haven't matured to the point where you're doing the things that you need to do. So I'm kind of on that same bandwagon. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. And if you're taking away shots from guys who, like who are one better players, in my opinion, or two, like I say, just that need those shots to develop, like I think.
Just talking about KPJ better than Jalen Green. Jalen Green then came hit his rookie season and averaged more points than this guy with less attempts, with a better average, and he don't even turn over the ball. Man, stop. Look at the numbers. Do a deeper dive, and I can tell you right now, Jalen Green is a better player than KPJ. Yeah, he only a year older than the guy, but we should not be prioritizing a guy that was drafted at the end of the first round by the Cleveland Cavaliers as our superstar player. I don't understand that. Why are we prioritizing this guy and giving this guy some type of respect that he's never even earned in his league yet? So I don't care if he scored 50 points in one game. We've seen that happen, and we never got a championship out of it.
Yeah, I'm saying when my concerns with KPJ initially were when he had them two little dreads or whatever you call them, just like. You seem rather indecisive, sir. Like you I know you may be trying to start something new, I guess. I don't know. And I'm gonna be honest. Like I told y'all, when players start making YouTube channels and rap labels and stuff like that, I start feeling like, are they really focused on the game? Are they really focused on being great, or are they just, having that money and enjoying the money that they're getting in the lifestyle they get to live behind it? You know what I mean? But it is what it is. And I'll see some folks who slid in a little bit later and were asking kind of what we were saying. That's just kind of what we were saying earlier about the Houston being is Houston a premier spot? Like Wise mentioned, there's lots of athletes that stay in. Let's not talk about Daniel House. Daniel House, that might be a band phrase in the sauce. What was that song yet? The terrible song.
For the team.
Yeah, but I was for the team and for another team.
Stop it. This guy is pure garbage. Get out of here. This man does not deserve to be on a basketball court. I don't even understand how he get an opportunity with the Utah. Oh, I forgot. The Jazz always tank in the first round in the playoffs. So that's why he went to the Utah Jazz. But yeah, Daniel was a terrible player. He didn't want to give up the number 4 for Jalen Green. And so if I was a Rockets fan, I would encourage you to get a Jalen Green number 0 jersey while they still on the market when they go on sale this offseason, because he's switching to number 4 next year. This is going to be a similar situation with the Texans if we draft Sauce and Lonnie don't want to get that number 1. Because you don't deserve that number. Like, you ain't no Hall of Fame player. You ain't never put the numbers, and you barely even a starter.
Yeah. Yeah, we traded Lonnie last night, man. We had to get rid of Lonnie in the mock draft. That was super funny because it was like it was Spitz picks. I was like, Spitz, who would you trade? And I just started scrolling down, and as soon as I seen Lonnie's name, I clicked it, and then he started laughing. He's like, I was just about to say Lonnie. Like, that's look and look. Don't get me wrong, Jack. Lonnie, if Lonnie took his Twitter mentality and applied it to the field, then one would have no issues. But it's just like, you can't be getting cooked and then hopping on Twitter talking trash and and all that other stuff. Then you got a YouTube channel, so that's bad.
The crazy thing was we was rocking with Lonnie and we was supporting him and this and that. But when you out here making me look bad by going on Twitter after every game and tweeting after a loss that you made a superstar play, nah, man, they're telling me you selfish as a player right there, and you ain't part of a winning organization. You don't want to be a part of a winning organization or team.
Exactly. But yeah, like I say, for those who had, like I say, it was just that Houston is a city that athletes like living in, like being in, because there's so many athletes that are in the greater Houston area. And we also talk about how Houston produces so many athletes and so much talent that goes on to these various leagues. I mean, in every league, you got lots of talent coming out of the greater Houston area. I want to say at one point, I don't know if it was still true last year, that the greater Houston area had the most athletes in the NFL. But the problem is, is it the organizations that are preventing these stars from coming in. Wise mentioned timing, cap issues. And then, some of these guys who may or may not have off the field issues, and teams like the Texans being afraid to take a flyer on them, right? And to me, as an organization, that's such a weird thing because I know with the Texans it happened, it just happened, but it shouldn't be a point where a player is ever bigger than your organization. You know what I mean? Like, it should never be a point. Like, I don't care how good they are or whatever, like that. You should be so fearful of obtaining someone that you feel like they could corrupt what you've built or attempting to build or whatever it is. You just got to make them assimilate, or you move on. That's just kind of my thoughts with that. Lonnie using his fingers to tweet BS instead of batting down passes and catching interceptions. That sounds about right. So yeah, and like I said, once players start getting them YouTube channels, though, like that also kind of tells me that their mind is somewhere else. Like I feel like, because like I said, we saw it with Scarlett, and Scarlett's channel was weird, and he got out of here with the Texans, and then you saw it with I want to say it was like two other players. I know Lonnie got one. It was somebody else. I can't remember who had a YouTube channel. They didn't last very long. So to me, that's a sign. When you make a YouTube channel, you play for the Texans. You only got so much. And then what does he call Life a Lotto?
Trust and they cool to make a whole mixtape.
Yeah. Yeah, trust about the rap. That's what I'm saying. Like, boys get in the league and this, look, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand it. Like, we just talked about old buddy in Dallas, and we know, the Hernandez, which was a crazy thing and all that. Like, you made it. You are like, stop trying to be a gangster. Stop trying to, live the street life. You are a world-class athlete getting paid millions of dollars to do what you do. And y'all want to be out in the street. Like, that's why I say the stuff I be saying in the den. People be thinking I'm crazy. People be thinking I'm hating. Like, the mentality is so offbeat that I don't get it. Like, dog, you told me I was going, I'd probably sound like a real questionable character. But look, if I made it to the league, every last one of my partners, you still in the streets, I can't rock with you. You're going to have to get right. You're going to either have to get educated. You're going to have to get like, I want no connections to nothing. I would not be doing anything that would put me in a position to lose this opportunity, because it ain't nothing in the streets that's going to put that kind of money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Without a very large risk coming with it. But for some reason, these athletes still want to be out there like that. You know what I'm saying? And who else was it? So Conley got a YouTube. It's just like you got to let that stuff go. But it is what it is, man. But yeah, it is getting about that time, and we definitely want to shout out to everybody who came through, chopped it up. We definitely appreciate each and every one else, especially everybody who was here. Upset with some of the maneuvers that were made in last night's mock draft. If you hadn't caught that, definitely go watch that. That was a good time. I want to say shout out to Fox 26 for having us. If you watch on the app or if you're watching on the tube, greatly appreciate it, man, because you could be anywhere in the world. And the fact that you dripping some sauce with us tonight, man, is always appreciated. Mr. Wiseman, anything you want to say before we wrap it up this evening?
Nothing much. Salute to everybody. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salutes to Fox 26 for giving us the opportunity to come on here and talk about sports every Tuesday. I want to encourage everybody to hit the like button, hit the subscription button down below if you haven't subscribed to Soft Sports as of yet. What else I need to put? Oh, join the Patreon. Patreon. It's $99 a month. Discord conversation and get in talking about this draft. The draft is coming up. Of course, it's going to be a lot of exciting times. And then after the draft happens, we're going to be in there talking about, we got this player, we got that player. Some people are going to be mad. Some people are going to be happy. It's going to be a war out there. And that's what I love about it. It's like a nasty Twitter Spaces, but a more explicit. And anybody can talk. And we let everybody have their own opinion, and we don't cut people off like the radio. So go ahead and join that Patreon. Join the Discord. Whenever we be in a chat every day or every other day, please. And we're going to tag everyone. And if you're available to come in the chat, come chop it up with your boys. We the round table. We just fans talking, being fans, talking about sports. We ain't no special media people or anything like that. So remember, at the end of the day, we enjoy y'all inputs too. So comment down below and we can interact with the comments too.
Exactly. Fans talking to fans, man. And y'all, again, there is no sauce, excuse me, without the fresh ingredients. Pardon me. And you guys are the fresh ingredients that make this what it is. So we appreciate y'all for being here, man. Very thankfully. Yeah, the Discord. Discord is a whole nother animal. It is 82% sports. And there's every now and then we drive off road just a little bit and it can get real crazy, but trust me, it's always a good time. So shout out to everybody who was a part of that, man. Definitely enjoy chopping it with y'all on the daily. But with that being said, man, shout out to Fox 26. Shout out to everybody out there in H-Town, Greater Houston area, wherever you may be, and wherever you are, wherever you're watching this from, man. You know, shout out to you. And we thank you for watching. With that being said, we'll chuck up a deuce. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. But most of all, y'all stay saucy. Hey, and we're out.